Hi, I'm James from Ampetronic, and today we're going to be showing you how to commission a hearing loop system using Loopworks Measure. Okay, so the first stage of the process is to set up a project and a room that we're going to test today. I'm going to enter project selection mode. I'm going to create a new project. Once you've created a project, we're going to look at a system. Now that we've got the project selected, we can define some test points in the room. We select test point mode and click add new test point. And then we've got 4 test points defined. Once we have our test points lined up, we can start the measurement procedure. So we click Start Test just down here. I'm going to start a commissioning test. I'm going to name the session. Now, it depends on the nature of the testing you're doing. We typically suggest that you name the session after today's date. Okay, so now we've done that, that takes us straight away to background noise mode. What we're going to do now is go to each of our test points in turn and save measurement data as we go. Okay, so we're at our first test point. I've selected test point first row center. I'm going to make sure that I hold the receiver, the R1 receiver, at approximately seated ear height to take the measurement. Now move on to the next test point. Now that we've done our test points for background noise mode, we're going to move on to the next stage, which is the field strength test. Now we've got a D14-2 amplifier installed in this room, so we can summon the test tones which are built into the unit remotely via a wireless network. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm going to turn on the 1 kHz pink noise combination signal. And now we've got a test signal playing. I'm going to go back to the measurement app. Go back to our test points and see where we are. We may need to make an adjustment to the loop output current before we go any further with our measurements. Okay, so that now leads us on to the next stage in the commissioning process, which is the frequency response measurement. We need to change the test tone this time because we're looking for to use the pink noise test signal. So I'm going to go back to the amplifier control page and select pink noise as the desired test signal. Switch back to the measurement app and go back to our test points and see where we're up to. So we appear to have a pretty good result there at the moment. We're really within 1 dB plus minus relative to our 1K reading across the whole spectrum from 100 Hz to 5 kHz. So this test point at least doesn't look like we need to do anything else. But again, we're going to go and check the other ones out just to make sure that none of those are out of spec. Okay, so we've turned off the test tones because the next stage of the process is to listen to some live signals and comment on the quality of the audio we're receiving. So we're going to go and get some live signals to listen to and plug some headphones in, see how we get on. So back in a moment. So we've now got to the live listening portion of the test. What we're going to do here is listen to a live signal source and answer a few questions on the quality of the sound that we're receiving when listening via the headphones. So my colleague James is going to speak through the microphone just now, and I'm going to listen and answer these questions.
Testing, 1, 2.
Okay, so the first question is, does the input signal indicator on the amplifier show a signal is present? Well, I've just gone and checked that, and yes, it does. So we'll answer yes to that one. Judge the signal clarity. Is it shrill, dull, or muffled? Sounds pretty nice to me. So we're going to select clear. Judge the level of hum, buzz, or other signal that is not intended to be heard. I'm going to go for quiet on that test. And finally, judge the signal quality. Are there popping or fizzing sounds alongside the normal signals? In other words, is the sound distorted? And no, it isn't, so we're going to select clean and move on to the next test. Now this next test is the live signal test in terms of taking field strength measurements, and we still need James to speak for this one, and this time I'm going to take some actual measurements of the strength of the signals being produced, again at our various test points in the room. So we're going to select first row centre and move to that test point. Okay, so with the live listening portions of the test completed, we move on to look at system noise. This is noise which is generated as a mixture of the magnetic background noise floor present in the room and the noise generated by the amplifier. So whereas previously where the amplifier switched off, this time we're going to switch the amplifier on and retake that background noise measurement to see what the amplifier itself is contributing. So with the system in-room performance test completed, we're on to looking at measuring overspill. Although this is a low spill system, filming this is going to be quite tricky in this particular environment, so we're going to skip this test for now. Obviously there's no need to measure overspill if it isn't a low spill system normally. And the final test then is about venue accessibility. So we've got a number of questions to answer here. Are staff able to set up and operate the system? Well, in this particular venue, yes they are. They're trained and competent to operate and administer the system. Select a yes for that question. Is there appropriate signage to show the loop system is present? Yes, there is. Is it clear where to expect the system to be usable? Well, there isn't a limited coverage area in this particular space, apart from arguably the back row to a certain extent. So we don't have to have a coverage map to illustrate that only a couple of rows is covered. So you can sit in any row in the room and get good assistance with your hearing. And finally, is there any routine maintenance and checking of the system in place? And again, as with the training of the staff, yes there is. There's a annual and bi-weekly test in place to verify the system's working correctly. And with that done, we hit stop and we get a summary of the results that we've got. Thank you for watching. I hope it was useful, and if you've got any further questions about this procedure, please feel free to contact us at ampetronic.co. Thanks, bye-bye.